Thank you all for being here today. We're here for this 1 hour orientation just about what is Plan Tucson and kind of what we're working towards, what is our timeline, and then we'll have some discussion around what you all would be looking for and what you're hoping to that this process will kind of come out with for you. So to get us started, I wanted to introduce the team that's kind of behind what's going on. So first of all, hi everyone, I'm Jasmine Chan. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the project manager for Plan Tucson. I am a member of the Planning and Development Services Department. With me, I am joined by Amanda Smith and Ian Wan. Both are also with Planning and Development Services, and they're primarily working on Plan Tucson with me. In addition to us, we have many others, not only at this department, but across the city helping to support from either at events, but also including kind of the analysis work, the detailed work that we'll be getting into. Additionally, we are working with Gordley Group. Tom Baca is here with us today from Gordley. They are helping us on the graphics, marketing, messaging, all of that component, and Southwest Decision Resources. Tani and Colleen from that organization are with us today, and they provide our facilitation support, kind of meeting management, all of that. So now that I've introduced our end, wanted to see you all could kind of give us a sense of what your organizations are focused on, what are you interested in. So we have a quick Zoom poll that Tani's going to pull up here. That'll ask what topic areas you're focused on. And then you can also provide what that, if you don't see your item listed, we did have a restriction of only listing 10 topics using Zoom polls, is also include into that question 2 other box so we can capture that as well. Okay, we'll give it another few seconds, still waiting on some folks to respond. Okay. I think that's just about everyone. We've got some staff support here for this orientation, so I don't think we're aiming for 100% here. Cool. Tani, can you share? I guess, can everyone see the results, or is that just my view? I'm seeing some nods. Okay, great, cool, excellent. So we've got a lot in economic development, quite a few in neighborhoods, transportation as well, nature, local business, education. We've got a handful of other that I can't see, but I'm sure we will get that information on the flip side here. So I'm gonna hit, should I hit stop sharing, or is that?
Yeah, you can stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I am now going to stop my screen share. I wanted to share a few words with you all. So, oh, I'm going to close my polls quick. Okay. Mayor Regina Romero wanted so much to be here today, but she is currently hosting officials from the Biden administration, specifically from the Small Business Administration. She wanted me to share the following message with all of you. Thank you for taking the time to participate today and for all of your work in our community. Looking back over this past decade, we have accomplished so much as a city. We are making incredible strides towards being a more equitable and sustainable desert city where all Tucsonans can thrive. We are building on the work of the past several years and weaving together other comprehensive efforts. These include our Move Tucson Comprehensive Transportation Plan, our soon-to-be adopted Tucson Resilient Together Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, our Housing Affordability Strategy, and our One Water 2100 Master Plan. We'll also incorporate lessons from programs like Thrive and the O5 and Ready, Set, Rec. A lot of these accomplishments have been outlined by the Plan Tucson team. If you missed the open house last month, I hope you can take a look at the posters they put together on plantucson.org. This general plan update gives us an opportunity to build on the many successes of the past decade, while also looking ahead. With this next plan, we are centering equity. We are making sure we can create an inclusive process where everyone feels welcome to participate, and where we can make it as easy and as meaningful for them to do so. Thank you for serving as ambassadors to this effort. As leaders in Tucson, you are connected to the community and know our community's needs. Help us get your colleagues, friends, and neighbors involved. But I challenge all of us to go beyond too. Who are we missing and how might we reach them? Thank you for helping us reach our community with both broad and deep engagement. Let's make this a truly inclusive, authentic, representative community engagement process. We are all proud of our city, and Plan Tucson is a great opportunity to make sure we have a bright future for generations to come. Thank you to Mayor Romero for sharing her words. Certainly she has very important work to be doing today, and excited that she is hosting the Small Business Administration here in town. Okay. So to bring us back to the presentation, I'm going to give a brief outline of what we're going to be talking about here today, go into some presentation mode, and then we'll do a breakout session at the end. So I'll cover what is Plan Tucson, then talk about the timeline for the update that we're currently working on, and then share some information about our community engagement program and where we're at with that now. So what is Plan Tucson? Plan Tucson was initiated in 2011 and is the general sustainability plan that was voter ratified in November of 2013. So that's the currently active general plan for City of Tucson. It works towards a thriving, sustainable Tucson through goals and policies arranged into 4 focus areas. Those focus areas are the environment, the natural environment, the social environment, the economic environment, and the built environment. Within each of those 4 focus areas are many different topics that kind of build the foundation of what those focus areas discuss and aim for. Plan Tucson informed and is informed by development, zoning, neighborhood and area plans, contemporary visioning, and planning efforts. The Plan Tucson 2013 is the product of 64 public meetings, 5 public hearings with Planning Commission, 1 public hearing with Mayor and Council, and 1 special election, along with many hours of deep analysis from staff, as well as volunteers who helped contribute to the effort 10 years ago. So I want to share this graphic because we see the update process that we're doing now as reliant upon all of these efforts that have been happening. So not just Plan Tucson 2013 as a basis, but really incorporating what are we hearing through processes like Move Tucson, Housing Affordability Strategy, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, all of these different planning efforts that have been ongoing at the City of Tucson ever since 2013, and very focused on the last 5 years engagement that we've been doing. So in order to kind of get a sense of what you all have been engaged with, kind of where you've seen different contributions come to for Plan Tucson and Tucson generally, wanted to have a quick poll here also in Zoom that Tawny's going to pull up that asks this question about what have you been involved in? What have you contributed to? And this can be you took a survey, or you were an ambassador for the project, or you hosted a meeting, or you hosted someone at an event that your organization had. So just getting a sense of, what is it that, what other processes or what other interest areas have you contributed to at the City of Tucson? Okay. Got a few people who helped with Plan Tucson 2013, many who contributed to Imagine Greater Tucson. Quite I think, let's see, yeah, a lot of people, the most people so far on this poll, on One Water and Imagine Greater Tucson, housing affordability strategy, several others.
Gail in full name.
Okay, thank you. I think this shows us how much we have been hearing, how much you all have been contributing, and tells us kind of the rich information we have to lean on already for kind of how do we understand what Plan Tucson update needs to include, what it needs to be as it moves forward for the next decade of the City of Tucson. I saw there was something that got dropped into the chat. Yes, thank you. Yeah, boards and commissions, teach student leadership skills, sustainability, water and air. Okay, I think that's from earlier. Okay, thank you. All right, so what is our timeline for this update? Where are we at and where are we going? So we are currently in phase 1, all the way over to the left of our screen. We are in early 2023 up until June of this year. Will be dedicated entirely to community listening and discovery. So this is community visioning. So asking people, what are they dreaming of for Tucson? What are they concerned about? What are some big ideas you have for what the future of Tucson can look like? And then also bringing forward the goals and the results of the different planning efforts that we have seen so far that we were just kind of sharing information about, is bringing those together and seeing kind of how those start to fit as we do our data analysis, as we understand how all of those different plans communicate and fit one another and help to inform Plan Tucson. We move into phase 2 this summer, and that'll last 1 full year. So from summer of 2023 to summer of 2024. And this is where we're relying very heavily on working groups come together. So we'll have, for those of you who have participated in the 2013 process, there were several working groups that were based around each of those focus areas of Plan Tucson 2013 that dove into what are the goals that we're hearing? What are the policies that we're seeing that are related to each of those specific areas? So phase 2 is where we're doing all of that conversation, understanding, where are things at now, and pulling that together to culminate in the preliminary draft of Plan Tucson by summer of 2024. This does also include discussion around future growth scenarios, so that we're currently planning on having a handful of different growth scenarios that we work with working groups and then also through kind of public workshops as well, to kind of shape that into that preferred growth scenario that really helps kind of give Plan Tucson and the general plan some direction, and future staff some direction for moving forward. Phase 3 is summer of 2024 to spring of 2025, and that's refinement of the draft of Plan Tucson. So a lot of community feedback, a lot of work with working groups, and using that kind of first half of phase 3 to put together that final draft that then will take for public hearings at Planning Commission. And then once Planning Commission has decided to make a recommendation one way or another, then it goes to Mayor and Council, where we'll have public hearings with Mayor and Council as well. And the outcome of phase 3 is Mayor and Council saying, yes, this document is ready for a ballot measure. And then that happens is when we move into phase 4. And phase 4 is all voter education, voter information around what's in Plan Tucson, talking to different residents about what does this document mean for them, what will it impact as we move forward through the next 10 years. November 2025 is the target for the election, or is the hopefully voter ratification of Plan Tucson. So in order, some kind of background information, the general plan is a requirement by the state for every city to have, and part of the state statutes includes a requirement for the elected body to adopt a public participation plan. And that's what we're calling our community engagement program. So this document was adopted by Mayor and Council in November of 2022. If you'd like to read that full document, we have that available on our website. We'll provide the link later on in this orientation meeting. But wanted to share some highlights from that document for you here today, so you get a sense of what we're aiming for through this process. We have 5 guiding principles that inform the way we will approach our engagement here for Plan Tucson. The first is everyone is welcome. The second is center equity. The third is build up and collaborate. The fourth is foster authentic participation. And the 5th is prioritize safety and accessibility for participants. Again, more detail in the document itself that you can find on the website. We also have a variety of engagement methods that we're going to be pulling on in order to reach a broad audience and reach people for however much time they have to be able to lend to the Plan Tucson update. So we have a project website, as I mentioned. We'll have email and print materials, be hosting our own events. So those might be, like the open house, very large scale events. And then there will also be ones that are smaller, that are more workshops, where you have kind of groups of community members coming together, having conversations, as well as working groups, going through the public hearings, the more kind of official process, as it were, and then updates regularly to not only Mayor and Council, but also to different boards and commissions at the city. So we're kind of trying to work with many different individuals in many different ways to get information out and feedback incorporated into this work. And I wanted to share some updates on what we've been up to in phase 1. So again, as a reminder, phase 1 is this started in January and extends until June of 2023. On the outreach component, we hosted an open house in mid-January. We hosted a staff workshop earlier this month to hear directly from City of Tucson staff. I'm about to share, we have scheduled 6 community workshops, all kind of happening in the March-April timeframe. We'll be attending a series of community events that we will be popping up at. We will put together working groups late this spring, so that won't happen for a little bit. And then also looking to be able to do some community presentations as well. That's the outreach side. On the scenario planning side and preparing for those discussions, starting later this year, are working on existing conditions analysis, as well as onboarding a scenario planning consultant to be able to support from the technical side there. Oh, wrong screen. Okay. And then here we've got, actually, hold on, let me look at my notes one more time. I think, so I'll share this and then we'll go into some breakout discussion. So community workshops, we have 6 of them. 2 of them are on Zoom. 2 of them will be outdoors, and then 2 of them will be indoor events. We will share this information out later, and it will also be posted onto the website as well. Wanted to kind of give you a sense of where we'll be busy and kind of what's going on our end. We'll definitely be providing you with that information after this meeting as well, so you don't have to like hurriedly write it down. You'll be receiving this information digitally as well. So I'm going to stop my screen share. And Tani, I think you're setting up all of our breakout rooms. So I'm just going to do a brief orientation to what we will do in the breakout rooms. So we're looking to understand you all what you hope will come out of the Plan Tucson process. So want to kind of hear in your own voices, in your own words, what your response to that would be. So we've got a short breakout room session planned here with a handful of facilitators that help kind of walk us through all of that.
Okay, yeah, so we're going to break 4 groups, just random groups, and there's a pair of facilitators in each group. If you just join, I'll assign you to a group moments after everybody else takes off. If you also just join, to add your affiliation to your name through the rename 3 dots. And if you have questions about the presentation Jasmine just gave, there's been lots of links shared in the chat. You can add anything else in the chat or ask it during the breakout groups. So we have about 20 minutes in the groups, and I'm going to open them up now.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Okay, let's give it a couple of minutes just to make sure we're not missing anyone joining us today. But Kyle's going to share his screen here after he gets the names put in so that you guys can see the notes that are going to be taken for our discussion that we have here today. So we'll start off here in a little bit with just introductions. That way everyone knows who's here today. And within those introductions, if you can just give your name and organization that you're affiliated with as well. So we'll give it a couple of minutes and then kind of dive into it here. Hey, Aaron, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. We're just waiting to see if we get any last minute participants, and then we're going to get started here with some brief introductions and then dive into the questions that we have today.
All right, there were a couple people left out there with me in the lobby. So
They didn't have a home, huh?
yeah, no.
Okay. I guess just starting off, did anyone have any brief questions that they had before we dove into things? There'll be a Q&A afterwards as well to give time for questions and responses. Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and get started here. And then once I do introductions, I'll call on someone. And then if you just want to call on someone else that hasn't gone yet, and then we'll just kind of go that way. Ian Wan, I'm with the City of Tucson Planning and Development Service Department, specifically the Advanced Planning section. And I'm supporting the Plan Tucson update as well as additional code amendments that we're working on here. Bonnie, you want to go ahead?
I'm Bonnie Polis. I am with Tucson Residents for Responsive Government, also called TRIG. We are primarily interested in this point with neighborhoods, which are the foundational unit of the city as described in Plan Tucson 2013. And we would like to be able to tailor some of the policies and goals in the new plan that actually spell out how we are going to interact with neighborhoods as the foundational unit. Thank you. Hal?
Hi, so I'm Hal Bergsma. I'm a volunteer for AARP Arizona. I'm also on the board of the Tucson Housing Foundation, and I have been involved for a few years with an effort or an initiative to provide more affordable housing for older adults in the Tucson area. And Karen?
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Prechtel Altman. I'm one of the deputy directors at the Pima County Public Library, and I oversee community engagement. I've been with the library for almost 30 years. Tucson's my hometown. And we, of course, also do planning both at a county level and department level. We'll be doing our own planning this coming year, but we always look towards the City of Tucson plan and as a guide. And try to make sure that the things that we are trying to accomplish coincide with what everyone else is trying to accomplish. So, and I'm happy to be part of, I guess, an interest group or any of the meetings that you have meeting with the community. Oh, Aaron, go ahead.
Thanks, Karen. Hi, Aaron Watcom, I'm the Associate State Director for Advocacy and Community Outreach for AARP Arizona. Hal's a little modest. He's not just a volunteer. He's our chairman of the Advocacy Steering Committee for Arizona AARP. So Hal's been a great partner and friend in advancing a lot of AARP's policies and initiatives. And when it comes to Tucson, we are focused on this housing initiative that Hal mentioned, and it's encompassing of a lot of different policies and advancements that we would love to work with, this group on and with the city on to implement. And for your awareness, we've met with Liz Morales already, and she's aware of the project. And, there's just a couple of different ways of approaching our initiative and making sure that there's affordable housing for older adults. And I think Plan Tucson is one of those ways. And actually, specifically to you, code reform and zoning reform. So we have a lot of information that we'd love to share with you and Plan Tucson and this community of activists as we make a push for that initiative and as we all work together for better Tucson. Kyle.
Hello, I am Kyle Kearns. I am a contract planner with the City of Tucson. I work most closely with neighborhood resources and community engagement. And I'm very excited to be here with you guys and hear what you have to say. And then I think the only one who hasn't gone is Mirella.
Hi, everyone. I don't think my camera is working, so I apologize for that. I am senior planner here with the Regional Wastewater Reclamation Department. I oversee capacity and long-range planning for wastewater infrastructure.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for introducing yourselves. Seems like we've got a good variety of people here from other government departments, but also community organizations. So thank you guys. Kyle, can you share your screen coming up once we start going with the notes?
Yeah.
And I think what we'll do here is just kind of the same thing around Robin. Really what we're looking to do is pose the question of what do you hope will come out of this Plan Tucson process? As we talked earlier in the meeting, it seems like a good amount of you have become familiar with different planning processes with the city. So we really want to hear from you on, what are your expectations for this process here? So I guess, Aaron, do you want to start?
Well, look, like ARP right now is focused on housing, and I won't take up all the oxygen in this breakout group by going over like exactly all the things in the housing reform that we're advocating for. But I would just say generally housing, and then to launch into an ongoing conversation with you all as city staff as to what is the best way to approach addressing affordable housing for older adults, whether it's through the Plan Tucson, whether it's through other means, but overall, like focusing on housing and whatnot. And if you don't mind, I'd love to throw it over to Hal, who might be able to kind of piggyback off of that. Hal, I'd not put you on the spot, Hal, but
And let me interject, Aaron. You specifically were talking about housing for more of a senior type of
so
buy-in.
affordable housing for older adults in Tucson is what we're focused on.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And we have actually put out a document the last couple of months that sort of lays out why we need to focus on older adults in Tucson and the Tucson area, what makes them especially vulnerable to housing shortages or affordable housing shortages. And then laying out, as Aaron has mentioned, a whole bunch of strategies for addressing that issue, which we're working with various members of city staff on. And by the way, I should have mentioned also that I was involved in the stakeholders working group that led to the adoption of an ADU ordinance for Tucson, which is very progressive action on the part of the city, and we appreciate that. That's something that AARP very much supports. The other thing I'd like to bring up beyond housing is that I'd like to see addressed in the new plan is the appreciation of the contribution of older adults in the city to the community. Tucson has an aging population, as most communities do in this country. And it's not just those that live here full-time. There's also a lot of people that live here part-time. Both groups contribute to the economy. And I think that sometimes that's overlooked, that we don't appreciate how people that move here after retiring contribute to the economy by bringing their Social Security, their pensions, their IRAs, and spending the money here rather than other parts of the country. So something that really needs to be addressed, I think, in the new plan.
All right. Thank you, Hal. Bonnie, do you want to go ahead?
The focus that I'd like to see is on neighborhoods and how they contribute to the fabric of Tucson. In terms of the discussion about older adults in our community, neighborhoods are the driving force behind the Lend a Hand program that uses volunteers in neighborhoods to assist seniors in aging in place in their own homes. I think that neighborhoods are really diverse in this community, but a lot of the goals that are stated in the neighborhood plans are very similar from one part of the city to the other. Part of what we have failed to do in Plan Tucson 2013 is have a robust program for updating those neighborhood plans and to have a program in place to help neighborhoods who want to specify what their goals and visions are for their area to be able to have a mechanism to be able to do that. And a lot of that involves not just people who are homeowners, but renters, because many of the neighborhoods within the city of Tucson, especially in Midtown, are more than 50% rentals. And we need to understand the challenges that are faced by people who rent, whether it's in regard to the rental payments that they make, the fact that they often have very little say in what improvements are being made to the places that they live in. And we feel that there needs to be a specific focus topic in the new plan that actually deals with the issues that all residents face regardless of what neighborhood they live in.
Thank you, Bonnie. Mariella, you want to start off?
Sure. As a wastewater service provider, I mean, for us, it is going to really be focusing on collaboration with the city of Tucson or the Tucson Water to find ways how to protect or increase, excuse me, alternative water resources in the county. This is going to be a tough one because, as we know, water shortage is one of the major concern in the coming years for the county and overall for the state of Arizona. So collaboration is going to be really important as far as identifying and implementing maybe initiatives that will provide us with guidance on how to achieve sustainable aquifer yields, something that will provide alternative water resources for the county. As we know, there are levels of groundwater where very low, and finding locations where those recharge basins gonna provide that additional water is going to be something that county at least is going to be looking for, as well as maintenance of the water quality in the region. Also, another one would be water conservation. I know there is going to be some that the city is working on initiatives to provide some policies how to do water conservation in the city. So those are some interesting and new efforts that we, in collaboration with the city, will be working on.
Perfect. Thank you, Mirella. Karen?
This is so fascinating. I love hearing from all of you. Thank you. It's hard for me to think of one thing because the library does everything, but I think the thing that I really am I think is important to be in the plan and to be a focus of the plan is early childhood education. The studies have shown that early childhood education is an absolute 100% predictor of a child's success in school later and success in life. And I personally believe it is the core of economic development for any community. And we are still struggling to provide affordable early childhood education to all people in Pima County. And of course, you know, aware of the PEEPS program that we have. And I'm hoping that the city will help fund some more of that program in the coming years. Right now, the county the library district is taking the bulk of that commitment. But it's something that we need to do regionally across our jurisdictions to support early childhood education. I'm also on the board of Make Way for Books, so it's really important to me.
Great. Yeah, I like we've got kind of the whole spectrum of life here. Coming from childhood all the way up to aging. Was there anything else I think we've got a couple minutes left until the breakout room's finished, but just want to give some space for anyone else to chime in. Al?
Yeah, if I could add one more thing. In 2019, the mayor and council adopted an age-friendly action plan for Tucson, and it covers a wide range of topics, housing being one, but transportation, public spaces, social integration, so on. And that's a plan that should be in the process of being implemented. I'm not sure it is. I'm hoping that this planning process will sort of boost efforts on the part of the city to work on implementing that particular plan. So maybe the bullet point should be implementation of Tucson's age-friendly action plan.
Ian? I guess there's another focus that will be part of the new plan, and that is refining the future growth scenario map and activities that go on with that. And unlike in 2013, there really wasn't a lot of public input. A lot of what was relied on were previous plans and things that had been done in the previous decade. And I think if we're going to look at a future growth scenario, that we need to have input from the people who are here today and the people who are going to be targeted for where that future growth goes. And I think that was really lacking in the 2013 plan.
Great. Thanks, Bonnie. I think a lot of the insights from previous engagements is helpful to make sure that we're learning from lessons.
Ian, could you please add the words investment in the PEEPS program?
Yeah, that was my next thing for Kyle right now is add investment for PEEPS program. Also food insecurity and food deserts. Mirella, did you have something else to say?
No, not really.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure everyone has an opportunity here. We've got a second question that we can kind of dive into here. I just don't want to dive into it and then we get cut off with it. But if everyone's okay with starting it, and then if we do get cut off, just stopping, we can kind of move in that direction as well. So round 3, you guys ready? This question is, what ideas and suggestions do you have to make this a worthwhile process? Think about it a little bit, and then we can start with Karen.
I'm so sorry, I was distracted. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, no worries. It's what ideas and suggestions do you have to make this a worthwhile process? Which is now we got the break rooms are closing. So I think it'd probably be best if we don't dive into it.
Quickly, more Spanish language opportunities for people than just the one that I saw.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll email you afterwards just to talk a little bit about that, Karen, if that's okay. Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining and participating in the breakout activity. We'll move forward with another activity moving after our breakout rooms. Yeah. Thanks, Kyle.
Yes, I got that. Sorry.
I forgot about us. Is it going to move us in?
I think we can.
They can talk.
Thank you. So we got slightly cut off. So I'm going to wrap up my notes and then I'll be there in just like 1 second.
For your groups, anyone want to just share how the conversations went while Jasmine's wrapping up? Good, thumbs up.
Well, we had great conversation in our room, lots of pinging off each other and hearing some common themes and real diversity of ideas. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, thank you all. Okay, Jasmine, looks like you're ready.
I am ready. Thanks, Tani. Okay, so let me make this bigger. So kind of to continue on to more information as it relates to outreach. So what our team is available for is we can, if you'd like us, we can come to present to your staff, or either your constituents or your networks in a 15-minute, a 30-minute, or a 60-minute presentation. So the longer presentations will include a discussion. The shorter one will really be informational with the survey that we've put together for this current phase. And then our colleagues over at SDR are working on a meeting in a box. So you could request it to check out a meeting in a box and then host your own feedback session. And additionally, Ian's going to drop into the chat. We're looking to see kind of, since this process will take several years, we're looking to kind of gather information about what your community events are. So events that you host that are available to your constituents or the public generally, and to get a sense of like what time of year those are, and particularly events that you would welcome our presence at. So Ian's going to drop that in the chat. You can also use the QR code to do that. In this form, it'll ask you for your name, your organization, and then has 2 slots for you to add some community events into. And then right at the end, there's here's what we might be interested in as an organization from the Plan Tucson team. So you can check all that apply out of these kind of 4 options here on the screen on the left. I'll give you a little bit to do that part. And yes, Karen, we will be, or Karen, I don't know how you pronounce your name, I apologize. We will be at Festival of Books, both on the 4th and the 5th. We'll be looking to each kind of that event as kind of an annual. So we will be there, hope to see you all. As well, we'll have information with us. We can chat. Anything you want to as it relates to the city of Tucson. Okay. Great. Your presentation is meant to be listening sessions. So the longer ones would be seeking feedback. So we would have a small team of facilitators there as well to have a facilitated discussion as well, as just the kind of informational, here's what Plan Tucson is presentation. So yes, looking to get feedback through the longer presentation formats. And Mead, thank you for putting your addition into the chat. I'm going to add that to our notes from our group. Okay, I can't copy and paste this. Wait, I might be able to. There it goes. And then I see another message. If nothing is currently planned, how do we contact you to arrange for a presentation feedback session? Yes, so you can email us at plantucson@tucsonaz.gov. Thank you, Amanda, for putting that into the chat. I'm actually going to advance a slide here. Oh yes, here. So you can see it printed here as well. It's the email address that reached out to you to invite you to this session. And you can also, Bonnie, in the link to request link for upcoming community events or request for Plan Tucson presentations. If you put in there, you select a couple of those, we will reach back out to you as well. And yes, Elizabeth, we will send these slides out after the presentation. Let's see if I miss anything. Mead says we could have a Plan Tucson presentation at EPAC meeting along with other jurisdictional plan updates. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Is it Plan Tucson at tucsonaz.gov?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then Mireya, I got your comment about the El Pueblo Fiesta. Right.
Thank you.
And will you send the slides out, Jasmine? Did you already answer that?
Yeah, we'll send a follow-up note that includes the slides, includes a recording to all of those we invited to come today. So those of you here who were here for the recording part, you can just look at the slides as a reference. And for those who are not able to join, can watch the video if they would like.
Jasmine, I'm curious, will you be incorporating notes from the various groups in your feedback as well?
The various breakout groups? Yes. Yeah, we're using that to help understand. I mean, all of the feedback we've been getting is to understand what do members of our community, what do our stakeholder leadership groups see as needs in Tucson, whether there are things that are missing in Plan 2013, or if there are things that they haven't heard come up in different planning processes, or really want to underline as really important to the future for City of Tucson. Yes, so thank you for this kind of first round of information, and you will definitely be continuing to hear from us. There are lots of events at Children's Museum. Yeah, I was just thinking about, there's that big Earth Day event that happens every year at the Children's Museum. Okay, well, I will stay on after the hour. It is 2 o'clock. I don't have anything else left for you all to share, but wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for coming here, for spending time with us, for giving us your feedback and your input. Very, very grateful to you all.